Hello and welcome to Rise of Flight with Zara Peppers. Now, I wanted to get more into flight simulators again because I haven't played them for a while. So I'm sort of rethinking all the different series I'm doing on the channel. I want to sort of narrow it down to a handful of games because I'm finding what I end up doing is I make the first episode of a series for something like Civilization or Banished or whatever, and then it's usually months until I actually make another installment of it, if ever. So I want to narrow the games I'm playing down to just a handful, maybe a dozen or under a dozen. That way I can actually start getting some series going and get to interesting parts and stuff. So I'm starting out because I want to get back in the flight simulators. I thought I'd start out with Rise of Flight, so because it's, World War I, it's a bit more simplistic than something like IL 2, Sturmovik, or DCS World, where you add in all those other elements. So I figured this would be a good one to start with to get back to the basics. I am playing the career mode single player for now. I have it on the full realism settings with the exception of navigational aids. I do have the navigational aids on still because I want to focus on flying and combat and that kind of thing before I have to start worrying about navigating by sight. Well, I mean, you're always navigating by sight, but, realistically. So those are the only ones I have right now. So it's a new day. I've been playing this career for 4 or 5 missions. Thought I'd throw this one on. It's a new day. It's August 30th, 1917. We are at Rumbeke. I'm probably butchering that airfield. Average clouds with a base at 2,100 meters, temperature 18 degrees, yada, yada, yada. All sorts of fun stuff. Now, let's just take a look at the situation where we are right now. We'll bring in the show the recon data. So we're currently based at this airfield right here at the top. Sort of annoying because it's basically right on the edge of the map, and usually you end up taking off north and then the game screams at you to go south, but you're, yada yada. So let's see what our missions for today are. It looks like our first mission, or am I in this one? What's my guy's name again? No, that one is the first patrol. Is not me. Protection patrol. That seems like our first mission of the day. So today we're flying the Albatross D.Va, and we are also flying with our comrades Karl Ham, Hartmann von Hesse, very German name, and Bert Graf, who are all flying the Albatross D3. So it looks like we're doing an escort mission for some Allied two-seaters who were rendezvousing over our airfield and escorting them to La Louvre for a bombing run or recon, I'm not sure. Take off at 1300 hours. Dismissed. Or I should say, dismissed. Or, I don't know. Jawohl, go do stuff, fly planes, now. Okay, so there's our teammates over there. Are these? I need to get this mic closer to my face. And it looks like we're off. Now, as I said, we're flying the Albatross D5 at the moment, the D5A to be specific. Getting up to speed. So this should be hard to tell what we're going to run into on this mission. It's an escort mission, so I am just going to make sure to follow my squad mates because I'm not sure where these things we're escorting are. So I follow my buddy up here. I should be able to find them relatively no problem. Now, as I said, obviously this is a World War I combat flight simulator game, a genre which is something we don't see. I hate it when that happens. Of course, we always have to take off north, and seriously, stupid game, why do you do this? Give me a chance to turn around, for fuck's sakes. And now I've lost, there he is. Like, they could at least just have you take off south, but here I am complaining already. Alright, we want to just get behind him. I wonder where these two-seaters are. Here's my squad mates. So they're over the air. We're meeting them over the airfield. I'm not sure if that was our airfield or another airfield, but whatever. We'll just follow my buddy. Hello. The Germans are coming. The Germans are coming. So we've got 3. I hear another 4. I think it's the 4 of us, maybe 5. So this is one of the planes that you can play for free. You can download the game and you get a free plane from the French, the Germans, and the British, I believe. And then each other plane, there's quite a few planes you can choose from. And it seems like they're between $4 and $5 each. And then the career mode, seems like I've been really liking the career mode so far. Usually the single player on these combat flight sims aren't really much to talk home about, but for the purposes of getting acquainted with flight simulators again, getting used to this kind of thing, it's been pretty good and it's fun. It gives you a very immersive idea of what it was like to fly daily missions in the war. Goes from day to day, you get various missions, and I think when you die, that's the end of your career, but I haven't died yet, which is a nice thing. Of course, you can retry missions and stuff, so it's not like permadeath if you die, but the way I'm playing it, I think I'm going to play it so if I die in the game, then I have to start a new character. Because, you know, bonus for realism and all that stuff. So it looks like we are on course to waypoint 1. I'm curious as to where these two-seaters are, whether they're already with us or whether we're meeting them. We might be meeting them at waypoint 1, I'm not entirely sure. But we shall see. Now, the Albatross D.Va entered service with the Imperial German Air Service in 1917 and remained in service until the end of the war, despite considerable shortcomings. 900 of the D5 variant were manufactured, while 1,600 of the D5A, which is what we're currently flying, were produced, for a total of 2,500 being made between the two types. Currently at almost 1,000 meters, or meters not feet, at 117 kilometers an hour, which isn't really that fast for an airplane, but these old biplanes were, one, a lot lighter than even World War II planes, and the double wings provides quite a bit more lift. In fact, that's what the landing flaps are for on more modern planes, is to sort of compensate for that lack of the second wing, so they don't have to land at extremely high speed. I'm probably oversimplifying it, but it is what it is. Now let's just throttle back slightly so we don't start overheating. Nothing behind us, that's always a nice sign. Now we're pretty close to the front line. You can see no man's land, that dark zone up ahead. You can see the trench lines as well. Uh-oh. There they are. Coming up to our first turn shortly. And we are losing speed, so let's just punch up that throttle. Now I'm not sure where these planes we're supposed to be escorting are, but I suppose I will just follow my flight leader, because that's what pilots do when they're not flight leader. No autopilot on right now, I'm doing full realism-ness. except the navigational aids. I do want to shut them off eventually, but right now I just want to have that information available to me. And I'm a bit, once I get into combat, it might be a bit hard using, oh, what do we have here? Let's see, an aircraft. Is that our what we're escorting? Oh no, I believe that is an allied, or an Axis, which is our ally because we're playing as German, but it's a friendly balloon. Now once I start getting into combat, this may be tricky because my mic is you really need to be speaking right into it, and when I'm looking around with the track IR, might not be able to pick me up very well, so we'll see how this turns out. Sort of a test bed for doing videos like this. After this one, I probably am going to start a new career mode for a specific series for the channel, but I thought I would just do this one as a test. And it looks like we have flak just above us. I know it's not called flak in the First World War, it's called something else. But it seems like extensively the same thing. Now we should be making our turn shortly. Now it looks like we have something up. I don't think those are puffs of flak. I think those are enemy aircraft dead ahead. Or they could be what we're escorting. Always keeping an eye on my 6. So we are heading over no man's land currently. Well, we're sort of above German trenches at the moment. We'll be over no man's land momentarily. Suppose I should get my head on a swivel now, but I don't see any enemy aircraft yet, just those friendly balloons. Thought I saw something down there, but I think it was just a puff of anti-aircraft fire. Now I know a lot of people in these sorts of videos usually fast forward ahead past the travel part, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just let you guys experience the whole journey of what it's like to do one of these missions in a flight simulator like this, because the journey is so much part of the fun of it, in my opinion. That is assuming I can think of stuff to talk about. And then maybe when we get into combat, I will shut up and just focus on that. And then I'll add commentary over it in post-editing. Because I don't think this mic is going to work once I'm looking around a lot. So we've got our 3 friendlies up ahead. Still not entirely... Maybe we're already maybe those 2-seaters took off with us, or 2-seater. I'm not sure how many of them there are. Anti-aircraft fire is getting a bit heavy now. Not seeing any aircraft elsewhere. I just see those friendly balloons. However, up ahead on my high 1 o'clock, I thought I saw some specks. I really had no clue what we were supposed to be escorting in this mission. It said we were supposed to rendezvous with them over our airfield, but we didn't run into them until considerably later. It seemed like it was an escorting them back. Yeah, I definitely, now it's my sort of high 12 o'clock where I see those specks. Should bring down my throttle a little bit. Don't want to start overheating the engine. Back to future me. Yeah, I think it was a rendezvous where we were escorting them back to base. I wonder if those are what we're supposed to be escorting. They seem to be over where the number 2 waypoint is. That is what you would visually deduct from this situation, I suppose, past me. Hello? Past me. Where are you? But yeah, because there's a lot of times when I'm just sort of thinking and planning and that kind of thing and not talking, I think what I'll do is I'll have a combination of the commentary while I'm playing and also commentary that I'll add in the editor when I'm putting this all together. Good idea, past me. I think we'll do that. Just so it's not too boring. Agreed. Now, the First World War, one thing that interests me about the First World War, it was a very strange kind of war. Sort of that period of transition between the wars of, let's say, the 19th century and modern warfare. I mean, a lot of the opening battles of the First World War were very much like those old battles of like the Napoleonic Wars, where you have lots of people colorfully dressed on both sides with cavalry and lines of attack. However, thanks to the machine gun and massive casualties while using those sorts of tactics, that sort of gave way to trench warfare fairly quickly. That is an enlightening insight, me. So it's sort of an interesting war where you have this clash between old-timey warfare and modern warfare that you would eventually see aspects of in the Second World War and conflicts afterwards. And of course, one of these new aspects was aerial combat. I'm not sure if the First World War was the absolute first use of aircraft in warfare. There may have been some smaller conflicts, civil wars, where they were used, most likely merely as recon roles, because I think the first air-to-air kill with guns in aircraft was during the First World War. But before that, it may have been used for recon purposes, and not sure what wars there were before the First World War. Can't think of any off the top of my head. It was used first in 1911 by the Italians against the Turks near Tripoli. But it sure seems... Don't interrupt me. But it wasn't until the Great War that their use became widespread. Okay, you can go now. Relatively quiet so far. We are almost at our second waypoint. Riveting commentary, I do say so myself. No one on my 6 yet. I suppose that is a relief. I suppose I should put my fuel mixture onto lean while I'm cruising. I should have done that a lot earlier. No idea where these aircraft are supposed to be escorting are, and we are falling behind our teammates quite heavily. Thing is, I don't want to keep running the engine at full because I believe there are problems with overheating. I think I blew up my engine once because doing that. And don't really have time to look down there. I'm not sure if there's a temperature gauge. Now, this aircraft is powered by a 170 horsepower Mercedes engine, taking the form of a single overhead cam inline 6, something that's actually pretty amazing considering the time it was built. I mean, my old first generation BMW 5 Series had a 170 horsepower single overhead cam inline 6, and that was from 70 years in the future. So, yeah, the things you learn. Now, I believe I see those two specs that I saw earlier. Oh, we got anti-aircraft fire aimed at our buddies up there. Now, okay, I see two specs, sort of low, 1 o'clock. I'm not sure if those are enemy contacts. Nothing behind me yet, but it does look like my friendlies are moving to intercept those. Not sure if you can see them. Sort of low 2 o'clock now. Looks like my friends are just flying over ahead of them, so they must be what we're escorting. Well, I'm gonna keep scare the crap out of me. It's just anti-aircraft fire. Well, just anti-aircraft fire. It's pretty worrying as it is, but it's better than a plane on my butt. Alright, cutting throttle. Heading back towards the front. We are well over the British side. Or French. No, I think it was the British up this far north. Just anti-aircraft fire, no baddies that I can see. I want to keep eyes on my friendlies. They're really starting to get ahead of me. The two aircraft, it looks like we were escorting. Okay, these guys are turning in. What are you guys up to? Alright, there's one of them. Pretty sure that's a friendly. Or is it? Yes, it is. Gonna get up behind him. Watch his back. Throttle down as we're diving a bit. Actually, I might just get up on his high left side so I can keep some energy. No one behind me. You can still see the two of them there. Alright, I'm going to dive down to their level. I'm really falling behind. Let's throttle up so we can pick up some speed and catch up. This may not be a very eventful mission, but it's a start. I've always loved these combat flight sims, but I got out of them for quite a while, and it's sort of a process of relearning all the different techniques that you need to do this kind of thing. Alright, we're getting quite quick. Let's bring the throttle back. Our fuel mixture is lean. So that's why I thought this would be a good start, because World War I air combat was, I mean, obviously it's still a very complicated affair, but compared to World War II, and especially DCS World, when you have God knows how many missiles and bombs to choose from and various targeting computers, this is relatively simplistic. Still no one behind me. But so yeah, as I was talking about earlier, I've decided to rethink my channel and streamline the amount of games I'm playing and really start getting into series like the Civilization series and the RimWorld series. And there are also some that I'm phasing out. I'm not actually going to say what all the games are or which ones I'm phasing out. If you really like them enough, you'll notice if I stop doing them, and you'll probably say you want more of them. So nothing's for sure. Just sort of. I also redid all the visuals on my channel, new avatar, thumbnails, banner. They're really starting to get away from me here. No idea where these airplanes we're supposed to be escorting are. or were. Looks like they're taking a right-hand turn. Are they heading back this way? Looks like they're circling. Let's get them off my left wing so I can keep an eye on them more easily. One behind me. I'm going to slot in behind these two. At least that gave me a chance to catch up. Oh well, if nothing else, this will have been a nice flight through the skies of France. I had quite a good dogfight on the last mission with I'm not sure what type of plane. It was a British plane with a gunner on it that I was taking care to keep out of the sights of, or making it so he didn't have an easy firing solution on me. Now it looks like we're heading back to base, but I'm just gonna stay with these guys until something happens or until they land, because I don't know. I wonder where my fuel is. I wonder if it's that green bar beside my airspeed. Oh, I see 2 aircraft to my low 10 o'clock. Those must be what we're escorting. I'm just trying to stay out of the exclusion zone. I really wish they'd stop forcing me to go over there. Now, when the D.Va was introduced to frontline pilots, they weren't exactly fond of this new toy. The upper wings were prone to structural failures. It basically had no increase in performance compared to the older D3. When the British got their hands on them, they came to pretty much the same conclusions. In response to the less than satisfied pilots, Albatross came up with the D5A that tried to deal with many of the complaints regarding the D5. The D5A would become the only viable fighter for the German Air Service in 1917 and most of 1918 due to problems with their other fighters produced at the time. It wasn't until the Fokker D7 came into service near the end of 1918 that there was a viable alternative to it. Yay, mission accomplished. Now we just have to land, so we're going to make our spiral. I believe our airfield there's the landing signal for the flare. So let's cut power and do a spiraling descent and get ourselves back on the ground. By the way, if anybody has any tips or anything for me, please give them in the comments below. I can use all the help I can get when it comes to playing this kind of game. It's always really appealed to me, simulators, but some of them I've just been kind of crap at, and I haven't had the time until now to put some effort into getting good at them. Now I have all the time in the world, so I may as well, but I can certainly use all the help I can get. Now, as soon as I get to about 1,000 feet, I think, or maybe 700 meters rather, I'll make my turn to go in for a landing. I remember when I was a kid, I used to always play games like Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I could never land if my life depended on it. These days, I've actually become pretty decent at it, so... And in this game, I haven't had too many problems. Obviously, it's a bit of a bounce fest sometimes, but... I'm still alive when I land, and that's the main thing. I think I am going to have to make another loop around to bleed off more speed, so we're going to do that. Alright, here we are making our last turn, and we're at 150 meters. Speed's looking good. We just need to bring back our throttle substantially. Let's level out. Oh, he may be coming in a bit too quick. Not liking this speed. I really want to be around 90, not 115. And we're is still going up. Well, it looks like we're just going to be making a quick landing. Alright. Nose up a bit. Level out. There we go, we're on the ground. That wasn't too bad. That is the least bounces I've had from a landing in this game so far. Not bad. Engine off. Oh, please don't flip. Please don't flip. Yeah, good enough. There's our buddies. I'm just going to get out of the way of these guys so they have a clear space to land. I'd rather not be crashed into once I'm already safe on the ground. Alright, doesn't look like we received any... Never mind, I did receive a little bit of damage from that mishap, but... whatever. It just needs to be hammered out. It just needs a good hammering to hammer that out. Then we'll be good to fly tomorrow. Thumbs up. I'm giving a thumbs up right now, just so you know. Looks like that must be one of our two-seaters that we were escorting. Well, that was pretty fun. Uneventful, but I had a good time. Hopefully you did too. So this is the first of this whole flight simulator series of videos I'm going to be doing. So until next time, so long. Avita Zed. Long so.
Wir wollen unseren alten Kaiser Wilhelm wieder haben. Wir wollen unseren alten Kaiser Wilhelm wieder haben.